Hey everybody, sorry about that. Let's get Manovermars up here. How do we invite to speak? James, you should have a request to come up. There we go.
Okay.
Um, how's it going this afternoon? Or
Good.
yeah, it's this afternoon over in Cali, right?
Yeah, it's 1 p.m. It's going good. It's going good. How
Awesome.
are you doing?
Pretty good. It's been a busy day over here, back-to-back calls, so just was like on one and then had to jump on a debrief after the call. So
Nice.
that's why a little delayed on my end, but thank you everybody for joining us today. So, James, I sent over a brief overview, but I guess do you want to drop any additional teasers as we get people checking out the chat that any of the Bitcoin billionaires to start getting people excited about this AMA today?
You said you had some, right? Because I have so many. I couldn't help but when I was working on these, like just like constantly make. I have like 20 different like sets put together. So I don't know which ones they want to show, and so I don't know if you have
Yeah.
some that are have been approved essentially.
I think that I have a good one actually. I'll drop that in there, and people will wonder about it, and then we might get a few more people trickling in to check it out.
Nice.
So ultimately just dropped another one of our teasers from the drop two. If you see there, the reason we had dropped the one yesterday is I wanted to make sure everybody saw the Bitcoin behind it to ultimately be able to see like, hey, like we're doing more stuff beyond just a Bitcoin head. Like
Hmm.
James really took it and then built on top of it. Um, and so hopefully get some more people, tease them a little bit with that one. But
Hmm.
James, to back up a little bit, you want to just tell us a little bit more about like how you got started as an artist?
Well, I mean, it all started back when I was a little kid. That's all I really ever wanted to do was draw and paint. Apparently, as a kid, and so much so, in fact, that I was when I would get in trouble, I would get grounded from like drawing. So it was like it worked pretty well. Like I have distinct memories of getting in trouble and then not being able to draw for like a week and like going and like hiding in places in my house and just doing little doodles and feeling like a little junkie that I had just gotten some relief. And I mean, I was inspired by like video games as a kid, and um, I just really loved like putting together details. I'd had some success early on as a kid. In fourth grade, I won this tornado safety poster contest that was put on by my school, and then I ended up winning. It ended up being like a statewide competition, and I didn't know that at the time. And I ended up winning for my school, and then for all the schools in my town, which there was like four or five, and then I won for my county, and then all of Northwest Ohio, I won first place, and then I got like fourth place in the state competition. So I was pretty jazzed about that. And that following summer, I competed in the Ohio State Fair, which that's where I'm originally from. I live in California now, but I grew up in Ohio. And uh, I entered. I did this really awesome drawing of Spider-Man doing like a one-handed backflip off of some buildings, and it was like fully rendered out. And uh, we went to the art show, and I got disqualified. So my dad found somebody that worked there, and they said that it was there was no way that like an 11-year-old did that drawing, that it was better than every drawing in every category, including the adults. So uh, I was like over the moon. My dad was mad. He was super mad. But I was like, that was like the greatest compliment ever. I couldn't have, there couldn't have been a better first place prize than being told that your drawing was better than even the adults. So I think at that point, I kind of knew that I wanted to pursue art as a career, and that I felt that I had something special, I guess, something um, that could give me an edge and make it like something that I could pull a career out of. So I went to art school. I got accepted to Columbus College of Art and Design. I got a scholarship, and it's like one of the top illustration schools in the country, and just happens to still be in Ohio. So I went there and um, continued to do well, and freelanced while I was in school, and did stuff like I was a courtroom sketch artist for a little while. I did commercials for like storyboards for like television commercials and stuff. So um, I've it's just something I've always loved. It just makes me happy to create things and stuff that never existed before. Like these little Bitcoin guys, like they don't, I got to bring them into existence. So it's a really cool feeling to create stuff, I guess, and it's something that keeps me going, I guess. So
Yeah, right off the bat, a couple things that you dropped there that were super interesting to me, and Corey said it as well, is you got grounded from drawing?
yeah, that's because it's all I did as a kid. Where I grew up, there was not a lot of neighbor kids. The only neighbor kids that were in my area were all like already in high school, so they didn't want to play with me. So and then I have siblings, but me and my brothers are all 5 years apart, so that's a pretty good age gap. I didn't really want to play with like a baby, so like drawing was all I really did, and played video games. But really, I like to draw more than play video games. So my parents picked up on that, and and I was a good kid, and I think that was part of it was because I didn't want drawing taken away from me. But I do have distinct memories of getting grounded. One in particular where I feel I was particularly clever. My bedroom, the door opened up and it was like up against the wall, so there was like a little gap, like like a few inches, and I would open the door all the way up so it looked like nobody was in the room, and I would sit behind the door and draw when I wasn't supposed to. And I remember doing this drawing of like a sun with like some badass sunglasses and like an angry expression, and just feeling like relieved that I had just gotten to draw and I wasn't really supposed to. So but my parents also really encouraged my work, and they also were creative, but they didn't pursue anything creative. My dad worked in a factory and my mom worked at a grocery store, but they would do projects together, and as a kid that was pretty inspiring to me to see them making stuff. And my dad is very much a craftsman. Like everything has to be done right, and so I definitely caught that. So anything I do, I like to do it right the first time and put in the extra effort, which, like, once again with these Bitcoin guys, I feel like I really went the extra mile to try to make things as cool and creative as possible.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I guess, kind of going off that, what led you down the path of kind of like becoming a professional artist? Like, was this, you mentioned it was all you ever wanted to do, but like, is
Mm-hmm.
this something you've been doing for, a long time where it's been like a career for you, or is it something that you've slowly moved your way into?
No, it was head on. I actually started freelancing when I was still in high school. I would do, I like, I don't know if you've seen like at grocery stores, like when people paint on the windows for like holidays and stuff. I would get paid to paint on windows. I would do murals in people's houses, portraits. Um, Something you guys probably can't tell from the stuff I've done for Ben is that I actually do a lot of portrait work. I don't do as much anymore because it's so time consuming, but I can drop a few images here in chat of like some of the portraits that I used to do, and you can see that like that was something that it's like a challenge, and I'm very much like I love challenges, and even just becoming a full-time artist is, it's like somebody saying they want to be like an actor or a musician. It's something there's no guarantee it's achievable, and it's a difficult thing. So for me, art school was the next step. Art school I don't feel is necessary for everybody. For me, it opened up my horizons as to the types of things that I could be interested in. I pretty much only liked black and white, pen and ink type stuff before art school, and then I fell in love with painting, and color, and so it really kind of changed my trajectory. And then it was so much so that I wanted to be a professional so badly that after art school, I packed up and I moved to California with no job. I didn't tell my parents, so they called me after I had already left, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to come over for dinner?" Because I lived about 2 hours away from them at the time, and I was in Colorado on my way to California. And I was like, "Well, I got something to tell you guys. I'm moving to California, and because uh, basically there's no art jobs in Ohio, so if I wanted to take my extremely expensive art school, the bill was absolutely insane. I mean, like doctors probably pay less than going to this art school. So it was either go to California or to New York, and I hate winter, so in Ohio I grew up with really nasty winters. So I said, all right, I'm just gonna move to California, and thankfully it's worked out. Like I said, there was no plan really as far as where to find work or how to keep money coming in. I just kind of did it.
I mean, that's amazing to me. And I know you mentioned you dropped a couple pieces of art in here, and they're amazing as well. But I guess I need to know the story behind the second one that you dropped because it is kind of like the creepier vibe to me. So what was the what happened and why did you create that one?
It is funny that I'm a very friendly, very nice guy, but I do have like a creepy like I love bizarre yeah, violent, creepy things. I have an absolute love for zombies in all forms, whether it's silly all the way up to like incredibly like nightmarish. So both of these pieces actually are from a phase of my career where I was doing a lot of gallery shows around the U.S. And the bottom one, the Hannibal Lecter one, was for an art show. I think it was in Wisconsin, and the whole thing was like about movies. And the owner of the gallery had contacted me and said he had this idea for a piece that he wanted to see if I would make for the show, and it was this American Gothic Hannibal Lecter crossover. And I said, sure, that sounds fun. So this is the piece that I made. And I think some of the things that were really fun about it was the what was his name, Billy Bob. It's in the window in the back, and how Clarice is holding the pitchfork with the blood and the evidence on it, the evidence tag, as opposed to the Hannibal, which in the original American Gothic piece, the guy is holding the pitchfork. But I don't know, it was just really, really bizarre. This is in color pencil and acrylic. That was something that I did a lot of in art school, and for like the first probably like 10 years of my career was color pencil and acrylic. I actually got named in the top 50 up and coming color pencil artists in the country by the Color Pencil Society of America. And then shortly after, I switched to digital. I switched to digital art because it was just it's so expensive. Like color pencils, they're like $2 or $3 a pencil, and illustration board and acrylic and brushes and the time it takes to let things dry. And but it's something I do love. I love that texture that you would get from color pencil. And the a little fun fact that I had kind of developed with these kind of gruesome paintings is the blood is actually nail polish. It's something that I found that works really well for blood to create like a texture that I liked. So that's fingernail polish on. So I would take my girlfriend at the time's fingernail polish and steal it and use it in artwork.
I definitely just zoomed all the way in to see what that looked like in the stills that you shared. Um, and so I guess kind of going off that, and we'll jump into kind of project related items here shortly. But I guess one last thing for anybody who is like an aspiring artist, what's something that you'd want them to know about kind of your journey that might help them?
It's, I mean, they tell you it's hard, and it is hard, whether you have a ton of natural talent or whether you are just kind of starting out. It is a really hard field. I've been at it since I graduated art school in 2005. So I mean, it tells you I'm a little bit on the older side. But I only am just now feeling comfortable in my career, and the being able to say no to projects and And like I said before, I spent a lot of time in the corporate world. Just this last year, I've switched to full-time freelance, and it was pretty scary, but it's worked out great. The timing of this NFT, all this NFT stuff has been perfect, and my work has been really well received. So it's really changed my path, I guess. And you have to be open to a lot of change, I guess. I would have never seen myself as a digital artist when I graduated, but I opened myself up to the possibility of learning digital art and the doors that it could open. And I also think that one piece of advice that I would give someone is everything you work on, put like full effort into it, go above and beyond, even if it's like for somebody that not a lot of people are going to see, or word of mouth is very powerful, and for me that has changed my career. The emote stuff that I do has all been 100% word of mouth. I don't advertise very much for it. I don't hunt emote jobs. I've never have, and because I feel like I've gone above and beyond and I've treated everyone equally, whether it's someone that has 300,000 followers on Twitch or 55, I give them the same treatment. And I think that that really shows your character, and it makes you someone that people want to work with. So numbers seem to be so important these days with like follower counts and social media and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, everyone is still a person, and then if you treat them like that, I think it can really help you bring more people your way, and essentially that's how you build a career, is having a lot of people that want to work with you because you're someone, not just because of your skill, but because you're someone that people feel they can trust, and they have your interest in mind as well.
Yeah, actually, if you want to just touch on the emoji and the emote business a little bit more, and just kind of let people know what you've done there and what kind of what that even is for you. Because
Sure.
I know a little bit about it because I've looked into, the stuff that you've shared, but some of the people that are listening right now might not even have any idea, or might be confused when you drop your specific man over sus, your
Oh
specific
yeah.
emojis. Yeah, those.
Yeah. So I mean, essentially, for those that don't know what emotes are, if you're not familiar with Twitch, and even like YouTube, I guess, has them, Facebook as well. They're basically like emoji that are custom. So every Twitch channel, if you achieve a certain status with them, which you meet like their benchmarks, you can become affiliated, which essentially allows you to start monetizing your channel through things like subscriptions, like paid subscriptions. So not like YouTube. So the YouTube terminology for subscription is basically just follower on Twitch. And then subscription is someone that actually pays, as opposed to just watching your channel for free. And one of the perks of paying is to get emotes that you can use in other channels as well. So you can use them in the channel that you subscribe to, and then you also get access to use them in everyone else's channel. So they're kind of like monthly NFTs, I guess. They can be swapped out there, and you have access to them, and you can kind of show them off wherever you go. The little zombie ones there in the middle, those are some of them from my channel. I've been lucky enough to achieve partner status with Twitch, and that allows you to unlock more emotes as well as other perks for people. Some of them at the bottom there might look a little bit familiar as Jay from Jay and Silent Bob, which I've worked with him, actually. Jason Mewes, I've done work for his Twitch channel, which has been really cool. And then to hear things like Kevin Smith talk about liking your work, and I don't know, it's really crazy. Like I said, you got to be open to to possibilities and let art kind of take you. But it's been really fun. Like I was saying before, I've never really advertised or like hunted people to do work, so it was kind of like a side thing. I was working as a corporate graphic designer and illustrator, and it kind of, when I started my journey on Twitch, people started seeing my emotes and they were like, "Oh wow, these are really cool. Who made them?" And I made them. Would you make some for me? And sure, and at that time there was only partners on Twitch. The affiliate program didn't exist, so all the people I were working with were people that had big followings and were their emotes were being used all over the place. So it kind of helped jumpstart this emote craze for when they made the affiliate program, which is pretty easy to become an affiliate. You only need like a average of like 3 viewers and 50 followers and stream like 12 times in a month or something like that. So it absolutely exploded when the affiliate program happened. I was getting so many messages a day, and I was doing something like 120 emotes like a month, and while I was still working, and it's something that kind of opened more doors and helped me find communities that I actually enjoy as well, and it making the emotes helped me find the place that I like to be on Twitch, which is like the DayZ community. It's a community that's kind of that got me partnered in the community that I'm in all the time. I pretty much only stream DayZ now. I was actually doing it last night until like 4 a.m. So that's what I like to do, and so it kind of goes hand in hand. Streaming for me is fun, but it also helps fuel my business, and vice versa. Like making art for other channels helps fuel my channel as well, because people find me that way and they want to come hang out and stuff as well. So it's really interesting. It's a weird little ecosystem. We were talking about like little like bubbles, that like community bubbles that people get in, and Twitch is definitely one of those things.
Awesome. And then kind of, segueing into the NFT space, you want to just tell us a little bit about how you got involved with NFTs? And then the follow-up question that we have Kale from the audience just asked is, what excites you the most about this project in particular?
Okay, well, to answer your first question on how I got into NFTs, actually Kale is the one that got me into it. She's a real life friend. She is part of my family. She's marrying my wife's sister, so like it's really cool. Like she got me into all this stuff, and like cryptocurrency, and then kind of NFTs. At that point I really didn't know what was going on, but she had seen a post about someone looking for an artist for a project, and tagged me in it, and then I responded. And I mean, I didn't think that anything was going to happen of it. I get tagged in so many posts for like emotes and all kinds of stuff, and most of the time they don't really pan out. I think that's another thing I should mention is don't get your hopes up too high when projects come your way. A lot of stuff it's going to fall through. That's, I would say, something like 60% of all projects that you even get your foot in the door, they kind of fall through. So they reached out to me, and I talked with Bunshu and Adam and stuff like that, and it was it just kind of clicked, and I was really happy. They loved my emote stuff. That was something that, even though I have no NFT background, I mean, at that point I didn't even really know how generative art worked. I was aware of NFTs. I kind of understood what the whole market and all that stuff was. I didn't quite understand why people were spending so much money on emotes. I understand a lot more now, and I myself have been buying NFTs and stuff, but I kind of fell into it, and it's really this. I don't know. I feel bad for people that haven't done any research and just have gone along with the craze of just hating on NFTs. I think there's a lot of really good stuff that's going on, not just creatively, but as far as like a community type thing. I think especially during the pandemic, a lot of people either turned to online communities and discovered how amazing online communities could be, or just kind of were alone. And I think that I myself had a love for online communities before the pandemic and before NFTs came along. So I think I was like just ready to kind of embrace this and the art is just, it's so fun. There's so much creativity going on. Um, and I was just really excited. I had heard of Ben before, and so when they told me who it was that they want me to work with, I was like, wow, like I feel so lucky to be like, no NFT background and to get brought into such a cool project, just right from the start. And I was kind of expecting it to just be like a couple of guys that wanted to, make some NFTs and see where it went, but I was just I was very excited to work on these. And then they just have been so fun to work with as well. They give me so much creative freedom, and that was one of the things that I really didn't like about the corporate world. Is, I mean, you're just kind of like a monkey that's ready to do whatever your skill set is, and you're just told what to do. And so it's been really, really exciting. And then what excites me the most about these projects is just like building the community is been really fun. Getting to make art for so many people that are excited about this project, to get to work with Ben and the team has been really exciting, and kind of helps in those wee hours of the night, when I'm staying up working and being tired. And those types of things do add fuel to keep working, and to put a little extra effort in if you see something that isn't quite turning out right, to take the time and go back and fix it, instead of just saying, it's good enough. So things like that, I think that community is powerful for me, as far as being excited, but then on the reverse side, it's powerful for the people in the community as well. So there's like this kind of really fun give and take that when I see people post the artwork that they've purchased, it just I just get really excited to see. So it's so much more of a it's not just like a owner creator type dynamic. There's like the whole community aspect is something new. Most of the time when I would make art, it's for like a company or something, and then you don't really get to see the people that digest the art and what they think about it. So this being involved, I think, is with the day to day, I think, is really exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it's kind of interesting hearing your perspective as you come from like a more traditional art role and work your way into NFTs, to kind of identify some of those value adds. Because I think we as a community probably don't do the best job of explaining why we find this community so valuable, and why we
Mm-hmm.
find the different things that we're working with so valuable. So it's interesting to hear you put those thoughts together into kind of a succinct manner. But I guess to kind of dive into this project and kind of what you've had going on, we want to start with drop one. You want to tell us a little about kind of like drop one, what went into that, and kind of what was your inspiration?
So yeah, so that was really fun. The first conversation we had, just like, and I actually just found out last night from talking with Bunchu that I was not the first person they talked to about this project. I was really surprised, because when I talked to them, it seemed like they already wanted me to work on it before I even talked to them, which made me feel really, really good once I heard about what the project was. But then to hear that they had interviewed other people and they were trying to find the right person for this project and for the community, I just I have a lot of respect for that, because a lot of people, they will just find artists and they'll just, okay, this person can make something cool, let's just use them. So to kind of hunt for something and have a vision, is really cool. So when I first talked to them, they had already decided that they wanted rockets, or that rockets would be like the theme. They wanted to go like very heavy into the meme, and even kind of like the emoji type stuff. On the cover of the Antisocial Network, there's like diamonds and rockets and stuff. So I think the emote stuff translated really well to that, because they're kind of like custom emoji. So here was the first sketch that I had sent over, after they explained how NFTs worked and the generative nature of it. I figured out how to how I wanted to organize the layers so that everything would fit together and there would be um, no like weird overlaps or anything like that. So I played it pretty safe with this one. There's like obviously the background and then the rocket shape. I wanted to do like a straight up 45-degree angle so that it felt symmetrical in a way. I really like symmetry, and then also like the lack of symmetry as a tool. So the rocket, I felt I wanted it to go pointed from corner to corner, and make it feel like it's really on like a good trajectory, and almost create like a slash type dynamic to go through the image. And then you have your rocket output. So I created like a rough space of where I wanted everything to kind of fit, and make sure that it fit in the end of the rocket, that where the stamps would go. I created a box so that most of the stamps didn't go outside the box, so that I knew where the edge was and the rider. We had initially talked about this guy being one of the traits, but they kind of were like, maybe we shouldn't in case there's some type of copyright. But you could see like how he could fit, and then even that pose was used in some of the riders, and then I wanted to kind of break out of that pose as well, like the zombie and some of the other ones have different poses, and like the cowboy has the lasso, and the Robin Hood is like falling off, and there's his bow. So there was room to make things more creative, but the rockets were always in the same position, the same spot. Nothing ever moved. There was a few rockets where like the trippy rocket, where like the fins on the rocket were kind of dripping and stuff like that. But creating this layout also gave me room for where I knew stuff needed to go in the background, so that I wasn't doing stuff that was getting covered up. I would guess it'd be probably okay, right, to drop just like the background by itself with no rocket, because I had some examples of that to show how it's like fully illustrated in the back. There's no like holes in the image.
Yeah.
So here's like one of them that was really fun to draw. You can see how there's no like unfinished areas. Like the rocket's always going to be covering a certain area, but I wanted to make it completely like fully illustrated, just to make sure that there would be no issues. But you can see that a lot of time and work was put into some of these backgrounds, and you can see where there's kind of like nothing going on in like the middle sections for the most part, so that the rockets wouldn't be covering. But then I would know where things were going and where the riders would kind of be in relation to the background. So basically I created a lot of templates, and everything was created separately. So it was a really fun problem, because most illustration work is just, here's the dimensions, fill it, and leave room for logos and text and stuff like that. But making artwork to where all the different pieces of artwork have to fit together randomly without anything like really weird happening, was really a fun challenge that is one of the things that I really like about NFTs. So, and for that, you can see the evolution of like the rough sketch to, the rockets that you guys own. And I don't know, it was really neat. Like I said, the figuring out of layers. I'm a very organized person, and when it comes to art, the rest of my life may not be as as organized, but I like to have layers in and know where things are at and to be able to find stuff. And so I think NFTs really kind of they click with me as far as like how to prioritize what layer goes on top of what, and then also once you put things in a certain layer, you have to design for it to be in that layer. So I can't really say like a rider is going to be behind the rocket, or like changed where things are located, because you have to kind of, certain things are on top of other things. So I have to work within those boundaries. So I really like limitations as far as artwork as well. I think that breeds a lot of creativity, and these projects, they're a lot of problem solving, which is really fun for me.
Awesome. And we have a couple questions from De Beers. De Beers, by the way, congratulations on winning the Midnight Ride signed autograph book. I saw you up
Oh,
there for that one.
nice.
Um, but also, he had a couple questions around kind of like, would you recommend any specific tools or apps for drawing on an iPad, and any specific online drawing courses or books that he could look into?
Um, let's see. As far as like drawing on like a tablet, that's something I haven't really done a lot of, like an iPad, or I did recently pick up a like a Galaxy tablet to do more work when I'm traveling around. But I haven't really spent a lot of time drawing on tablets. I have a drawing screen that hooks right to my computer that I sit at my desk, so it's very much like as close to used to what I was familiar with doing traditional drawing and painting. But it's so I don't know about as many apps and stuff. I would say, as far as just drawing in general, a good foundation can be applied to everything. So in art school, they taught us no matter if you wanted to be like a stylized, cartoonish artist, or if you wanted to be a hyper realistic artist, you started with the basics as far as form, rendering, anatomy, proportion, stuff like that. So everyone, no matter what they were doing, they had to take figure drawing, and everyone kind of started on a path of drawing realistically, because even in a cartoon sense, you have to understand the structure of what you're drawing, and it has to feel like believable, even if it's cartoonish. I've seen some NFTs that structurally I don't feel like the art is there. Even something like the Bored Apes, like the way their neck is and stuff is really, it's kind of odd. But there's other things where it's like really really off. But it's like having that foundation can really help you to understand how to stylize and how to create your own style. So if you understand how hands work and how proportion works, you can then bend the rules. So it's like once you find out what the rules are of the game, you can figure out how to bend and break them, and do them in unique ways that still create some type of believable structure that people can really vibe with. So I would recommend just drawing, hands, drawing people doing like proportion studies, and just draw a lot. I don't think a lot of people realize how much drawing you really need to do to really learn and make something second nature. I'm able to stay up and work super late at night on very little sleep, because I can kind of go into like autopilot mode, because all I've done my entire life since a child is just draw, like every opportunity that I've gotten. So you learn to ingrain things, and then you become like a filing system of things you've seen and things you've drawn, and then you can start mixing them together, and then you can start to develop like your own style based on it. Just like anything else, like how your personality is like a marriage of all these different things that you've experienced and things that you've seen and watched and done. Art is like the same way. It's like exposing yourself to different art, different practice and studying, and it will help shape your own work into being something unique. So I can't stress enough, like just study the foundation stuff, and then you'll be able to learn how to stylize and make the art your own.
And Gia has a great follow-up question to that. Is so, of all of the NFT projects that you've seen, you'd comment on a couple that you're just like, hey, like this art isn't necessarily like it, doesn't follow the normal structures of art, but like, are there any that you really appreciate in the terms of like, hey, the art is like, this is what you want to see?
Yeah, there's some that, I have, since I do so many different styles, like if you go to my website, you'll see like the very realistic stuff all the way down to like really simple, bizarre, like cute type things. So I have a great appreciation for all kinds of different art, but there's been a few that I've come across recently. I'll drop this one. It's a project called Mars Cat Voyager. or Mars Cat Voyage, and it's the art is so good. Like, and if you look at their other NFTs, like there's so much detail in some of them. Like this leather jacket one has like all these different buttons and zippers, and it fits together so well. And there's like a believable, um, like even though it's a 2D image, it has a believable 3D feel to it. Um, and it doesn't take a lot of rendering. It's just like the way that it's drawn. It feels like structurally realistic in a sense. Like you could visualize it in 3D, I guess. So I really like the art for that. I did end up that is the NFT that I own from that project. There's this really like more cutesy type one that I really like the way that the art is for it. They have a lot of really cool traits. It's called Floppy. I do own this NFT as well. It's more of an animation project, and they're like really destroying their roadmap. They're really doing a lot of work. But even like, I don't know, like even like little cute stuff like Wonder Pals. I really like the artwork for them. I don't know. There's just so many real cool things. I love like Sup Ducks. They're one that the anatomy of their art is really bizarre, but it works. I really like it. It's you and I were talking about Sup Ducks, and but there's some that are like that. They're really just weird, and I really like them. And they show so much creativity, like their little king frogs. I think not only are cute, they're bizarre. The way that they organize them in the space, like as you can see, the little frog does not take up very much space in the NFT. I think is really unique, and their texture, and I mean, other things like on-chain monkeys. Like when I first saw them, I was like, "What is this? Like, why would somebody pay like, like 2 ETH for for this?" But then when I started reading about the project, I understood like the creativity and what was going on and what they were doing that was different. And now I'm like, man, I wish I had an on-chain monkey. And there's so many cool projects. I really wish that I had gotten into like buying ETH like way earlier than I did, so that I could have more to play with. But I don't know. I really think that if when more people start getting into NFTs, they're really going to see that there's communities for everyone, and that's something I see on Twitch. And that as people start to give it a chance, like my wife is not into video games, she's not into streaming. I don't think she really gets like why I do it and why I put so much time and effort into it and what I get out of it. But when she's come into the channel and hung out, she's like, "Oh wow, this is actually pretty neat." And I think as people start giving NFTs more of a chance, they'll start to see that there are projects for everyone. Like there's things that are bizarre, things that are taboo, things that are society uplifting. And I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's really neat. So I think that's something that is also energizing. I hesitate to use the word inspiring. I have like I saw that there was a question asked earlier about inspiration, and I have like a feeling about inspiration, and to me it's like a romance movie. Like it's not realistic. Like the idea of inspiration is not really. It's like it's like a fairy tale, I guess. It depends on, I guess, if you're wanting to be make a career out of art or a hobby. I think for a hobby, inspiration can be very useful. But as like for me and a lot of other professionals that I know, like inspiration is not anything that you really consider, because you have to do the work anyway. I guess the inspiration is paying your bills. So you spend a lot of time doing stuff you don't really enjoy sometimes, and it is kind of like just a project. But then when you find stuff that you do like, that excitement can really go a long way. So that's, I guess, another tidbit that I would give to aspiring artists is to forget about inspiration, just work. And even if you don't feel like doing it, spend time working. I think Ben touched on it in the first book club, where he was saying like he just, every day you just sit down and you just work. And sometimes you'll sit down, you don't want to do it, and then by the end you maybe don't want to stop. And then other times, the whole time, you may not want you may just not want to do it at all. But those are things you have to do if you want to build something, because if you wait for inspiration, you're going to miss a lot of projects because you don't have the experience or the background to really show that you can be trusted. Because at the end of the day, that's really what someone's doing if they're bringing you onto their team, is they're putting a lot of trust that you can do what you say you can do, that you'll do it on time, and that you won't create any problems. Like, I could have created all kinds of problems with this project by not working on it, or being late, or not putting in the effort that they expected. And you do unfortunately see that happen, just like how unfortunately you see rug pulls and people abuse the community. You'll see artists that don't take things seriously, and they can really derail projects. So there's a lot of trust that goes into, and they expect you to work whether you are excited about it or not, because they're paying you to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess kind of, getting into drop two. So we're gonna skip Midnight Ride because I think the stories that you've had so far have been great, and I do want to touch on drop two. So we'll skip that and maybe do that in part of the summation in the future.
Sure.
But so jumping into drop two, I guess what were you given as like, hey, like this is what we're trying to do besides just look at Bitcoin Billionaires
Um,
for the art.
so that one was so the Rockets one went really smooth. They had, oh man, there's that little that little X-ray guy. The Rockets went really smooth. There was a real clear idea of what they wanted for the Rockets, and so it was just pretty much go to town, and things went really quickly. The Bitcoin Billionaires was a little bit more difficult to nail down, and there was originally a different idea for Bitcoin Billionaires, and I can actually drop it. It actually shaped Midnight Ride as well. So here was the initial sketch. The initial idea was that Bitcoin Billionaires and Midnight Ride were going to be combined into one drop. That there was going to be elements of Bitcoin Billionaires, and there was going to be elements of the Midnight Ride together. So I had come up with this idea, kind of continuing the whole rider type thing. Like there's the people riding the Rockets. This is someone riding a horse, and there would be different elements. Like I thought, like, oh, you could do like the Winklevoss twins on the horse, and you could have different. You could have like Paul Revere. You could have other historical figures. You could have other billionaire type looking people. You could have, and what does that mean? Like in the crypto world and NFTs, like the idea of someone being extremely wealthy has what they look like has changed. They don't have to look like Bill Gates. They can look like the guy that used to deliver you pizzas. And so playing around with that, and then other horses like like a golden horse or like a robot horse. And so there was this idea of combining them, and then pretty quickly we realized that that's it. It's too much. It's going to be too hard to make it clear what we're trying to get at. And then so the next idea was something that was a little bit of a departure from the look and the style of the Rockets. It was going to be something a little bit more like collage, and maybe even like graffiti looking. And I did have some concerns that it was going to be too different looking than the Rockets, and that they wouldn't feel like it went together. So I put together some sketches and pitched this idea of like the coin, the actual Bitcoin was the billionaire type person. Like the coin had a personality. And these were some of the initial sketches that I had sent, just kind of throwing it out there, because I was after we separated the two projects, the Midnight Ride thing kind of seemed like it wasn't really going to happen, or there wasn't going to be time to make artwork for like this puzzle drop. And then a bunch of you and them came to me and said, hey, we really want to do like the Midnight Ride thing. Can we tone it down and make it much more simple and still get the Bitcoin project in. And so I said, okay, I think I can squeeze it all in these timelines. And here there was, then the Midnight Ride kind of turned into, this was the next sketch. Paul Revere, we're gonna keep the same background, same image, change the colors, and have this like little word bubble. Because if you scroll up, you look at the initial sketch, there was like this little word bubble and it says "Pamp It." That was gonna be like the rocket stamp type thing. That was gonna be just like change and have little words and images and memes and stuff. And so it kind of morphed into that. And then it took up a bit of time. It took me about 3 weeks to fully put together the Midnight Ride drop, and that ate into my month and a half to work on Bitcoin Billionaires. So that it didn't leave me a lot of time. So that's when I pitched the idea of these little like coin people, and they really liked it. And as you can see, like the proportions were a little bit different, and there was going to be ideas of like little hands, but when I finally put it all together, there wasn't really a lot of room, so I kind of scrapped the hand idea and kind of just made it more of like a classic profile picture type set of images. And it was just really fun. They liked the idea. We made some drafts and sent it to Ben, and he was really excited about it. And so I put together the task of creating a lot of traits. So with the rockets, when I was brought onto the project, there was about 80 to 90 traits already kind of planned out, like ideas that they had. And then I filled in the gap for the rest, coming up with ideas for like the hamburgers coming out of the rockets, like some more of the bizarre stuff, like sushi and the rats and some of the backgrounds, like Mount Rushmore and King Kong and all that. Those were some of the traits that I kind of brought to the table. But for the Bitcoin one, they kind of gave me free reign to just put together a list. I put together a list of a bunch of traits, and they were just like, all right, let's do it. Let's just go for it. And then I was making up more traits along the way as I got more ideas. If you scroll up at that the little Earth one that was teased earlier, that was like a late game idea. It was like this little Bitcoin world. And then like a little, one of the last traits I actually made was the little moon in the rocket, as like a nod to the first drop. And it's just, there's some really creative stuff in there that you guys haven't seen yet that I'm really excited about, that they just let me go to town and do some weird stuff, different clothes, different like headwear, different like the eyes and the mouth, like this guy, the little mustache that's on the first one that we teased was just, just little fun things, little touches. He could have just had the little frowny face, but I thought, let's add a little bit of charm. And maybe he doesn't have a very desirable mustache, but a lot of us can relate to a lot of those things. And that's what I love about these little projects. You can have so much charm, so many little touches that really stand out because it's not hidden behind like super 3-dimensional rendering. That mustache just is right there. You can't not see it. And I don't know, it's just such a fun project to have so much room to just explore and try out things. And for me, it was like I feel like I grew a lot, and this one as well, to getting to try a lot of different stuff, and just try a little bit more odd ideas that, because I think that's something in the NFT space that it just seems to be, the weird traits are the ones that people really like. And the bizarre combinations of things. And I'm a bit more of a like grounded, more realistic mindset. So getting to explore these like really bizarre traits was really fun.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And I like the rockets. I love the rockets. I have a bunch of them. I wish I had spread out my NFTs into more wallets so I could claim more of these Bitcoin guys. I have the regrets now. I didn't do as good of a job. I will be collecting all of these.
Yeah.
I've seen more than I've shared, and I actually don't know. I'd ask Bunchu for a bunch of sneak peeks. I don't know if he meant these were all for this this AMA or this session today, but I'm going through a lot of them and I'm just sharing them. Hopefully, I get a couple more. But I just shared one of the alien guys who's another like you said, you were talking about like the weird traits that look really good.
Hmm.
This one was to me where I was just like, yep, like this is so goofy to me, and it's so
Yeah.
perfect for like a profile picture. Like somebody could like all of these Bitcoin ones where with the rockets like they look good but you can't see it because it's
Right.
they're small in the frame. These ones are huge, like you can see the whole face. You might cut off some of the background, but
Hmm.
you're getting the face in the profile picture.
Yeah. So if you look right above that in the that sketch for the midnight ride, so I create a template for there's a circle so that for profile pictures to keep that in mind because that was an issue in the first rockets. I didn't keep the, I didn't I mean I maybe I didn't have the experience to keep that in mind that a lot of these profile pictures are going to be cropped into circles, so it cropped the rockets a little bit kind of a little bit tight and it cut into some of the background. So and then since then there's been the Twitter blue that has the little hexagon. So every time I create something now I have this template that allows me to see what is going to be seen when things are cropped. So I keep that in mind. Excuse me. So with these Bitcoin guys, I really pushed them to fill the space, and that was one of the reasons was because the rockets they are there's so much detail that is not seen in a profile picture, and I wanted to kind of give this community something that could be like a profile picture because I see a lot of really great projects that become people's profile pictures, and it's a great way to advertise and show your what communities you belong to. And I really thought that these Bitcoin guys could be such a cool profile picture, not only because of the project, but then also just promoting Bitcoin and also just doing it in a way to where I've seen a lot of really cheesy uses of Bitcoin in NFTs, like or not maybe not even just cheesy, but like not creative uses, like just slapping a Bitcoin logo on something, or um, you know, just having it in there, just like to prove that it's like an NFT or to show off that it's like some type of crypto related project. But for this, I thought it would be really cool to add a lot of character and charm to Bitcoin, and also just everyone in the community is different, so these little characters are going to be odd. Like that little last one has like weird little plus shaped kind of reminds me of like Kermit the Frog eyes a little bit. There's some other really bizarre like pupils in this set, and then there's a lot of really just like simple regular eyes. So there's a lot to play with, and then there's only so much as far as like the coin colors. So I explored ideas of different coin colors. Like we have this little green one. There's like red ones and blue ones to kind of help with variety, and then create weird combinations of maybe there's like a blue alien, a blue coin with like the little alien head, and this little biker jacket I thought was really cool to make and to stylize. So there's a lot of really fun combinations that I can't wait to see. Like I've made all the parts, but I'm just as excited to see how all the parts come together as you guys. And this last one you posted kind of teases some of the backgrounds as well. So there are some backgrounds that were made, some fully illustrated backgrounds, and I pushed a little bit of a simpler style than some of the. They're still cartoonish, but they're a little bit more simple to not take away as much from the character. And then I instead of doing like all black lines, I decided to do like colored lines that help make them kind of fade back into the background a little bit more. Plus, it adds like kind of like a cute, like a little bit of like a cartoony fun factor to it, like this big mansion that's behind him. But the I don't feel like it distracts too much from the actual coin since all of his lines are black. So there's a lot of little elements like that that were taken into consideration. Most of what you see, everything was planned. I don't really leave a lot of stuff to like it just happened, and that's how it is. A lot of the choices of like line color or gradients and stuff like that were all all planned. So it's really cool to see them all come together, and I really can't wait to see you guys share all the different coins. And I was so excited that I picked up another rocket and I put it in another wallet. So I'll be getting 2 of these little guys, and I just can't wait. I may even want to pick up some more on the aftermarket if possible. But I was actually worried that no one's going to want to part with these, and that they're not going to be easy to find, or maybe they'll get expensive. I don't know.
I have a feeling that this piece will likely, the utility portion for our project will likely only be a portion of what it drives. Because I think, like you said, there is such a cult-like, Bitcoin frenzy that I think this is one of the projects that I've seen, at least, that does put Bitcoin in like the funnest light. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, like Bitcoin gets slapped everywhere because it is like the OG crypto.
Right.
But when it comes to how it's integrated into an NFT project, it's normally just kind of like, oh, like a Bitcoin, like for the, for example, with the rockets, like we had the Bitcoin logo there.
Right.
It wasn't integrated into the art in quite the way that you've done here, which is just amazing to me. So, really, really, really appreciate that. I will be sweeping them for sure. So, be careful if you guys are listing them, especially because I think it's one of those items where the rarity isn't as important in my mind because I want the ones that look cool. Like, I
Yeah.
want the ones that look like the best portraits themselves. Um, and so we are at the gone just over an hour here. If anybody has any final questions for James Manovermars, like definitely want to discuss those or make sure we get those in. But otherwise, James, is there anything else that you want to talk about as far as kind of your your journey, whether through art or the NFT project, that you just kind of want to leave everybody with?
I think that I'm just as much invested in this community as a lot of you guys are. I'm very excited to see where this thing goes. I really wanted to put a lot of work into the second drop. I've seen a lot of projects where their second drop has not really lived up to the expectations of the community, and it could be even potentially damaging to the project as a long term. So for me, that was all something that I tried to keep in mind, that I wanted to bring something new and fun, and but also something that continued to bring the value to the community, to all you guys that are spending your time in the Discord and hanging out and spending your your money and your crypto on these drops, and choosing, there's so many projects, and so choosing this project to be a part of. So I definitely wanted to put make this second drop be something that was unique and creative. And I think that even as far as other like profile picture type images, I really wanted to try to show that I could make some stuff that competes with the other big projects out there, that's what they're doing, is just the profile picture, and that this is a free drop, like that this is you don't have to go and drop, sit grind for whitelists and drop close to an ETH on unrevealed artwork because people are trying to flip them. And this is your guys' reward for taking the risk to get a rocket, or several rockets for some people. So that was something that I really wanted to make sure that was done, that this is something that you guys could be excited about and see them all over the place on profile pictures, and like I said, just like a reward. Because I mean, really, the idea behind these Bitcoin people is that anyone can be someone in this community. Like you can have lost your job at like Target and turned your life around with crypto and with NFTs, and you could be all these little people could be the little millionaires, like you and you don't have to be like a corporate CEO anymore to be one of those. So that's why I thought this little Bitcoin thing could be fun to show, not just like the classic type billionaire look, but that this is a crazy movement that has been generating a lot of wealth for a lot of people that may not have been able to get there on their own with the current financial system. So it's like a community, and then it's the little art is like a representation of the people in the community.
That's Super excited to have you on board. The last question we do have for you is, how did you pick the username?
Manovermars.
Yeah.
Uh, so um, for years I had a website, and it didn't really have a lot of traction because my last name is spelled differently than it sounds. So if I were to meet people and say, oh, oh, check out my website, James Bruner illustration or whatever, people didn't know how to find it. And so I decided when I wanted to rebrand, I wanted to have something that was a little bit easier to remember. And I have a husky named Marlo, and my girlfriend at the time was very jealous of my love for this dog, and she had said, why don't you just rebrand it and like name it something like that. And she came up with the idea of Manovermars, and I was like, I love that idea actually. And so that was something that I kind of branded everything. So like my Twitch channel is Manovermars, my Twitter and my main Twitter account is Manovermars. The new NFT one is manovermars.nft, and so Manovermars just became like my online identity. And unfortunately, the abbreviation for that is MOM, and people have taken to calling me Mom on Twitch. So when I come in people's channels, they'll be like, "Hey, Mom, how's it going?" And it's created some confusion. It's pretty funny though. Something that I embraced as part of my branding, that grown men will refer to me as Mom. So
Love it. James, thank you so much for chatting with us today. Super excited to have you on board for this project, and I'm excited to see all of the different combinations.
yeah, me
I
too.
did save some of the sneak peeks, so maybe we'll get a couple more trickled out over the next few days, and I might have to ask Bunchy for even more just so I can keep looking at them.
Yeah, I could probably send you a few too. Um,
Awesome. Well,
but yeah, thanks for
thank you
having
very
me,
much, everybody.
and thanks for having me as part of this project. I really uh, this NFT and crypto has changed people's lives, and it's I feel like it's really changing my life. In I mean, I haven't really made money off of like flipping NFTs and stuff, but I feel like this has like really changed my life. And there's some other projects that are coming along that I'm really excited about as far as career wise, and I'm really excited to dig into like the Vegas drop for this project. And I mean, there's just the future is open as long as you're willing to be open to it. It's exciting times.